but by and large, you bought yourself a lawsuit for
Talk Radio 790 KABC. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm Karl Gerber, and I'm a real workplace lawyer. If you're a diehard KABC listener, you've probably heard me on Sunday nights from 7 to 8. When there's not going to be a USC game, and it's not going to eat into this time, I'm going to be on now Saturdays from 7 to 8. So I want to give you a little bit of background information. I represent employees. I'm a member of the California State Bar, the Texas State Bar, the Massachusetts State Bar, and the Washington, D.C. State Bar. I've been licensed in California since 1993. I'm referred to as one of the original employment lawyers, if you can believe that. I was the only one in the phone book in Los Angeles and the San Fernando Valley when I started doing employment law. I'm also a Los Angeles historian, and you're going to hear about Los Angeles in this show. I know a lot about it, and it comes into this script. If you were living in LA in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or 80s, you're going to like this show. You're going to find out I have a long career writing, lots of legal articles, but I do comedy too, and I do fiction. And a lot of the shows you hear, if you heard the Sunday night shows, well, hey, that's the most cutting edge, edgy, outrageous sketch comedy on commercial radio, and you're going to maybe get a little treat of that tonight. But we broadcast this show live from downtown, trendy Culver City here, and that makes it a little harder. So I've been on KABC since 2018 in April. This is actually episode 75 of my show. It's kind of exciting. The show's moving into other cities, and it's real big on the internet, about 20 different sound sharing sites. Of course, the Karl Gerber with a K channel on YouTube. So we want to kind of break into this time slot, and we want to give you some real legal stuff, because this week you might have heard about AB 5. A lot of employers have been calling up and saying, what is it? Well, Governor Newsom actually signed this into law this week, and it's about the gig economy. And it stops people in the gig economy from being misclassified as independent contractors. If you have questions about whether you've been misclassified as an independent contractor, you should give me a call at the office during normal business hours at 877-525-0700. If you've been misclassified as an independent contractor, weren't even paid minimum wage for it, 877-525-0700. Once again, 877-525-0700. So we're going to give you some insight on this new law in the first segment of the show. Then we're going to give you a real live example of a gig economy worker, if you can believe that, live in studio. I've got with me tonight Ann Guleser, who's one of the lawyers who works with me at the Employment Lawyers Group. She's worked for me since 2006. Ann, why don't you say hi?
Hi, Karl.
How long have you been practicing, Ann?
Since 2000.
Oh, wow. And you don't do anything but employment law either, do you?
No, it's just employment law.
And we're supposed to be talking about AB 5, which is now California Labor Code Section 2750.3. And it applies to a lot of people, but not everyone who's an employee. Can you tell us about who this new law that is going to make those Uber and Lyft drivers employees and other people like that? Can you tell us what kind of professions are now subject to this new law, which is really affecting the California workplace and is going to affect the valuations of a lot of these gig economy companies?
Well, Assembly Bill number 5 only applies to the gig workers. It doesn't apply to other employment. The bill lists the occupations it doesn't apply to. For instance, it doesn't apply to professional workers such as physicians, psychologists, lawyers, architects, accountants. It doesn't apply to professions like stockbrokers, veterinarians, direct sellers, real estate agents.
So far, all those people you're listing have licenses. They have professional licenses. Is that one of the reasons why this law isn't going to apply to them?
That's correct. It also doesn't apply to professional service contracts where they have their own business licenses and their own business locations. They can set their own hours, can negotiate rates.
So That's an important point I think the listeners need to understand. If someone really has a business, they have a business license, they're professionally licensed through the state bar or whatever it is, or real estate, those kind of people aren't all of a sudden going to be called employees because they have a real business. And this law is because of the Dynamex case, which is something I talked about very early on in the show. And we had a real live example of somebody affected by Dynamex, and she turned out not to be a normal operator. She was a phone sex operator. If you can believe that, being misclassified as an independent contractor. And so one of the things this new law does is it codifies what the Dynamex case said. So, Anne, you should continue on. I think what you were saying was important about the fact these people actually have businesses, so they're not covered.
Yes, people that have their business licenses other than professional licenses. And if they have their own location, providing services like hairstyling, estheticians, marketing professionals, they won't be covered. Also, professions like graphic designers, grant writers, fine artists are specifically exempt from this law.
And those professions that Anne, one of the lawyers who works for me, is talking about, those are generally the same people who are referred to as being exempt, which means that you don't have to pay them overtime, you don't have to do meal breaks and rest breaks. And so I think there's some public policies behind this new law that got passed this week in California. You may have heard of AB 5. One of the public policies is that very low-wage workers who really don't have a business really do need to be covered by workers' compensation and unemployment insurance if they're fired or they have an accident at work. And you know, I think real estate is a good example. We all know that real estate agents may have a couple listings. And how it works is if you're just an agent and you're not a broker, you hang your license with your broker over at the broker's room there. And, you know, you have that one house or two houses or three houses you might be selling. And I think that the legislature and the governor didn't want to start saying, well, because someone is hanging their license at a real estate company, they should start being considered an employee because they might only spend a couple hours with the listing. They might not sell the house. So there's some reasons why there's coverage and non-coverage in this law. Anne and I are working on a case in the gig economy, and we would like to talk a little bit about that. This person, if you look at his pay stubs, might be getting paid a couple dollars an hour, and there's some funny surcharges the company charges on his pay stubs. Anne, can you give us a little information about how this gig economy worker is being taxed by his employer and not getting paid much?
Certainly. The income, what is paid is coming from just the tips, but the rest of the stuff he's billed is equipment lease fees, administrative fees, occupational accident insurance premium, and some marketing fees, which he didn't basically
get any benefit of.
That's true, and he didn't use them.
So how much does this guy who's making deliveries, it's not, I'm not going to say it's for Postmates, it's not maybe for a company you've heard of, but it's a food delivery situation. Are there times when the guy is making very little money per hour?
Most of the time he makes $1 or $2 less than the minimum wage.
On top of that, he is driving and he's being taxed by the employer, and he's not getting reimbursed for mileage when he's driving. And some time ago, Anna actually had a case, and she's the one that did the appeal where the person wasn't getting paid mileage when they were driving. If you do have a real employment case, I'd like you to reach out to us at 877-525-0700. Besides unpaid wages, we also handle termination cases. If you have a case where you were not paid appropriately for contract commissions, anything like that, 877-525-0700, their normal business hours. In 1 minute, Anne, can you give us a little information about that appeal that you had where the person wasn't paid?
Yes, he was a minimum wage earner. He was a building maintenance person, and the employer had several buildings. So all he did all day was to install and fix things from one and drive from one building to another. Obviously, his minimum wage didn't even cover his gas, let alone maintenance of the truck. And the appeals court judges were very frustrated that a minimum wage worker driving this truck was not paid for his mileage and expenses.
And that's a published opinion that you can read about. We get involved in workplace issues for employees, and we're usually the first to be involved in that issue at the Employment Lawyers Group. And so if there's no case that has been decided on that issue, that may be ours to be decided. Now, I'm excited that we have a guest in the studio, and we'll hear from her when we come back, this gig economy worker on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KABC. Hope you're listening on YouTube on the Karl Gerber with a K channel, maybe catching up on old episodes. We'll be back in just a minute.
Apart from employment at will principles the law imparts. The common law exception for doing something good is what I'll need to overturn your wrongful deeds.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a consistent force in fighting for the rights of California employees. They've represented thousands of employees in cases in which they've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, discriminated against at work, or owed wages individually or as a group such as a class action. The Employment Lawyers Group has maintained a high win rate and a serious record before the California courts. Please call 877-525-0700 for an experienced work lawyer. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, research the firm at worklawyerca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. If you hire the Employment Lawyers Group, your legal problem becomes theirs to solve.
Great news from Sprint. The wait is finally over. The all-new Samsung Galaxy Note 10 has arrived. Get the power of performance and productivity for 50% off with a Sprint Flex lease. That's right. Get the Galaxy Note 10 for less than $20 per month. With its amazing features like intelligent all-day battery and super fast charge, you'll have the power that lasts more than your day with just minutes of charge. But it doesn't stop there. You can also experience the power of the S Pen, which combines air gestures, remote photos, and handwriting to text all in one magic wand. And when you switch, you'll get Sprint's 100% total satisfaction guarantee. Try it for 30 days, love it, or get your money back. To learn more about the Galaxy Note 10, visit your local Sprint store, sprint.com/Galaxy Note 10, or call 800-SPRINT-1 today.
$19.79 a month after $19.80 monthly credit applied within 2 bills with approved credit 18-month lease and new line of service. If you cancel early, remaining balance due. Excludes tax, coverage, and offer not available everywhere. $30 activation fee and restrictions apply. Guarantee applies to new lines. Select exclusions apply.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, not for sale to minors. Website restricted to adults 21 and over.
Let's be real. Most smokers aren't looking for some overcomplicated vaping machine. That's why we created My Blue. My Blue is simple. Our pre-filled liquid pods mean there's no mess. One charge and My Blue lasts all day. And with our range of flavors and nicotine options, you have a choice. My Blue answers on what matters for smokers. Real nicotine satisfaction. And right now, try My Blue for $1 at select retailers or myblue.com.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, not for sale to minors. Website restricted to adults 21 and over.
Let's be real. Most smokers aren't looking for some overcomplicated vaping machine. That's why we created My Blue. My Blue is simple. Our pre-filled liquid pods mean there's no mess. One charge and My Blue lasts all day. And with our range of flavors and nicotine options, you have a choice. My Blue answers on what matters for smokers. Real nicotine satisfaction. And right now, try My Blue for $1 at select retailers or myblue.com.
We've got 2020 vision on 2020 AM790 KABC.
Fired back, but by and large,
Talk Radio 790 KBC. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and I'm Karl Gerber. Warning, what you're about to hear is a little different than your average lawyer show on this station. I've got a guest here from the gig economy, and I still got my associate attorney, Ann Guleser, in studio, and I want to turn to my guest. Miss, could you tell us your name?
Oh, no.
Excuse me?
No.
I think the listeners would like to know your name, at least a reference point to who it is I'm talking to.
No.
Ser anonym pese?
Sinophilist is my first name.
Can we have your last name?
No.
I don't know Armenian, but I know a little bit of Spanish, if that helps. ¿Cuál es tu apellido?
No.
Oh, this is hopeless. The station's got me on at this new time where everyone is listening, and I can't even get my guest to tell us her name.
Oh, well, my name is Cynophilist Galore. My mother was a galore, and she's a vegetarian. Well, I mean a veterinarian. Well, a vegetarian too. And my dad, well, he's pretty rustic.
Thank you for giving in and finally letting us have your full name.
Well, why didn't you just ask in the first place?
Oh, I'll try to be a lot clearer next time.
Well, please do that, because I heard a lot of words, but they kind of weren't making any sense, you know?
Well, it seemed like you understood the words in Armenian.
I did?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Oh, God, this is crazy.
Yes.
Let me try it this way. I was informed by some fairly unreliable sources, that you were a member of the gig economy.
Well, sir, I'm not a musician. I mean, why is everyone saying I have a gig?
Well, I agree you're not a jazz musician. Actually, how am I supposed to know? I guess she isn't responding. Let's try that sound again.
Well, my dad, who is rather rustic, he still is, he said the word origin of gig came from the 1920s from jazz musicians.
Did Thritz the cat have a gig?
Guess.
Oh, this is good. She responds to meows, too.
Huh?
The term gig economy was coined in 2009 during the Great Recession when unemployed people took short-term jobs they referred to as gigs.
Whoa, that is so literally mind-blowing. I mean, I didn't even know the show was so heavy.
It isn't, Angel Tears.
Oh, wow, my dad used to say that all the time, and he still does.
Interesting. Maybe more interesting than whatever it is you do in your car, driving around, gigging for spare change.
Oh, that's so funny, Daddy. I would not wear out my own car, even if I had one. Driving around with my feet to my gigs? No.
Then how do you get to your gigs?
Lots of different ways.
Do you care to elaborate?
No. Lyft, Uber, sometimes I run, sometimes I walk.
I think our strange guest responds to animal noises. I didn't realize one person in the gig economy used, and I mean used, another person in the gig economy to get to the first person's gig.
What?
Say, do you ever take a bird for 25 cents a minute after you pay the buck to unlock?
Well, no. Sometimes my costumes get in the way. It's a tail.
Oh, costume?
Yes, of course. I mean, I've got to fit in. You wear stuff like suits to court, right?
Yeah, I wear suits to court, but not suits. Just stuff like suits, like, wool, but mostly over my eyes. Lots of, beguiled plastic usually.
That's what I thought.
On the earlier 74 episodes of this show, we heard a lot about Remus Helms's cosplay ostrich ranch in Sun Valley, California. You aren't going to tell us you did some gigs there, are you?
Can you please get me a gig there? I swear I am really, really good.
Please don't tell me you're a cosplay actor. We've dealt with so many on this show, and then on episode 73, tricked out Billy's Ranch, 27 or 52 miles from nowhere. And she said once her slick Willie went down in a naked hang gliding plus accident. Well, he got infected on his way down, not a people-transmitted virus. It happened on a cactus. Well, tricked out Billy opened up the doors of her ranch, to nudists. And naturally, well, I mean natural, the swingers followed. I don't even know how well the nudists mix with the cosplay clowns, let alone the swingers.
I heard that episode on the Karl Gerber with a K channel on YouTube. I felt really bad for tricked out Billy losing the love of her life. And I crawled over to the corner of the room and put my head down. I was on a job where I was supposed to be all happy and panting and sticking my tongue out.
Oh, this sounds quite lewd.
Oh, Mr. Gerber, are you a cat or a dog person?
Well, I like both. TBH, I really like cats.
Oh, yeah, I've played that role. I'll be doing it tonight. But dogs are my fave animals.
They're great.
Do you have a dog?
No.
Can I ask why?
No. Actually, my wife doesn't like dogs. My youngest son would like a dog, but, well, he's like me. He goes crazy. These are pussycats.
I might just have the solution for you.
Maybe show my wife how great a dog can be?
That probably won't work. It might, though. I've got something better.
Better than what?
Better than recycled paper clips and beads, if you can believe that. Here's how it works. A dog that isn't a dog.
I'm not into all that robot stuff. We've sort of been there on this show with the Cindy D model where men got stuck.
Huh?
Huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna break that pattern.
Thank God.
Okay, what about a dog that is really a person?
I find that to be a sexist remark.
What?
What?
No.
Yes.
Huh?
Moving right along. I thought you were here to talk about your job in the gig economy.
I am.
Well, if you aren't, can you at least tell us why riding a rented scooter would interfere with your costume?
Like I thought I said, Mr. Gerber, I have to fit in. It doesn't work if I look like an outsider.
Where is this?
When I go into clients' homes.
Oh, like you wear a uniform.
Costume.
What exactly is it that you do in clients' homes?
I'm an animal impersonator.
Why would anybody hire an animal impersonator?
Okay. Say, for instance, you have a job. And you do have a job, don't you?
Oh, no, not me.
Okay, let's pretend you did. You have to go to work. There is some mean boss lady. No. She's a man. She makes you work. And get this, from 9 to 5:30, if you want a half an hour lunch break.
Well, but what if I want an hour lunch break?
No, your employer only has to give you 30 minutes.
Oh, but pretend I want a whole hour. It doesn't that make the day longer at work?
No, because you aren't working during the hour.
Yeah, but I am having to work all the way to 6 o'clock.
Yeah, but if you start at 9 and take an hour break, doesn't that mean you leave at 4 in the afternoon? I mean, if you're doing your 8.
Oh, no, I think it would be a full 8-hour work day if I started at 9 in the morning and left at 2 p.m. and took a 1-hour meal break.
Something doesn't sound right.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I've got this down right. Some days, all I do is figure out how many hours a class of employees worked on each of their shifts over a 4-year period. But we can say I want a 20-minute meal break if that makes you feel better.
Can we settle on 40 minutes?
Okay, I start at 9 in the morning, take a 40-minute meal break, and work 8 hours. Absent the 40-minute meal break, that means I'll leave around midnight.
I think you'd leave at 8:42 p.m., but that's not the point. The point is somebody has to come over to your house and be a friend to your pet.
But I don't have a dog.
You're pretending that you do, remember?
But my wife doesn't like dogs.
Then pretend you have a person living in your house that dresses and acts like a dog.
Now that sounds more realistic, at least about my living circumstances. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and if you haven't heard this show before, we enact real-life workplace legal issues with some very strange guests. One individual refers me, and I won't say too much about him right now, but if you have a real employment case, if you want to sue your employer, that's kind of what I do. I actually do have a job. I run the Employment Lawyers Group, and I'd like to help you if you're sitting there and you're at home and you're really stressed out because you've been fired from your job and all you can think about is that you've been fired and your identity is taken away and you've got bills to pay. I want to hear from you during normal business hours at 877-525-0700. We deal with termination cases. We deal with unpaid wage cases, obviously class actions. That's what I do a lot of, 877-525-0700. We also deal with sexual harassment and discrimination cases at work, 877-525-0700 from my office. We're talking to a lady whose name is Cynophilist, which I think means something about dogs. You might want to look that up on the break, Cynophilist, because she has a weird job in the gig economy. We'll find out more about it when we come back. Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a results-oriented law firm whose goal is to get the client what they deserve. They've represented thousands of California employees who've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, subjected to employment discrimination, or were owed wages on an individualized or group basis, such as a class action. They have a high rate of success. There are few situations involving employment law that they have not confronted. At the forefront of employee rights, they're often the first employee law firm to confront a new legal issue. For an experienced employment lawyer, call 877-525-0700. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, read more about the firm at employeelawca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. Make your work problem theirs to solve.
AM 790
KABC. Talk Radio 790 KABC News Update. I'm Steve Cumming. At least 5 people are believed to be dead following Tropical Storm Imelda in Houston. The remnants of the storm dumped 43 inches of rain on southeast Texas, much of it within 24 hours. Hazardous flooding brought the Houston area to a standstill yesterday, leaving hundreds of cars stranded in high water and leading to several deaths. Houston emergency workers discovered a man's body in a ditch who apparently drowned, and 2 drivers who apparently died in their cars were discovered after floodwaters receded. Bernie Sanders is rolling out his plan to eliminate medical debt. Campaigning in Iowa today, the Vermont senator said he would negotiate and pay off the $81 billion of past due medical bills owed by Americans. The plan's goal would be to challenge the greed of the healthcare industry. He would also tell the IRS to examine the way it bills and collects from almost 3,000 nonprofit hospitals. KABC SoCal weather, clear skies this evening, then partly cloudy overnight with lows in the lower to mid-60s. More news coming up in 30 minutes, continuing coverage at KABC.com. I'm Steve Cumming, Talk Radio 790 KABC News.
This weekend on Champions of Justice, it's our semi-annual congressional update on the state of our government with one of the nation's most accountable congressmen, Adam Schiff. Whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or Independent, Tom Girardi asks the questions you would ask in a far-reaching 1-hour program that covers campaign finance reform, energy, the military, and national security. Tune in Champions of Justice, Saturday morning at 11 and Sunday night at 10 here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
At Simple Mobile, you get the no contract advantage. Unlimited talk and text plus 3 gigabytes of high-speed data now for $20 a month for the first 3 months. Just $20 a month on a lightning-fast 4G LTE nationwide network and no contract. That's our best deal ever. Learn more at simplemobile.com. Simple Mobile, out with the old, in with the simple.
Requires new auto re-up enrollment by 9/30/19. Credit card and Simple Mobile account required for enrollment. $23.75 per month after first 3 months, plus taxes and fees. See terms and conditions at simplemobile.com.
Great news from Sprint. The wait is finally over. The all-new Samsung Galaxy Note 10 has arrived. Get the power of performance and productivity for 50% off with a Sprint Flex lease. That's right. Get the Galaxy Note 10 for less than $20 per month. With its amazing features like intelligent all-day battery and super fast charge, you'll have the power that lasts more than your day with just minutes of charge. But it doesn't stop there. You can also experience the power of the S Pen, which combines air gestures, remote photos, and handwriting to text all in one magic wand. And when you switch, you'll get Sprint's 100% total satisfaction guarantee. Try it for 30 days, love it, or get your money back. To learn more about the Galaxy Note 10, visit your local Sprint store, sprint.com/Galaxy Note 10, or call 800-SPRINT-1 today.
$19.79 a month after $19.80 monthly credit applied within 2 bills with approved credit, 18-month lease, and new line of service. If you cancel early, remaining balance due. Excludes tax, coverage, and offer not available everywhere. $30 activation fee and restrictions apply. Guarantee applies to new lines. Select exclusions apply.
The beacon of common sense. AM790 KABC.
I fired back, but by and large.
Talk Radio 790 KABC. You're listening to the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and I'm Karl Gerber. I have a very interesting guest in studio tonight from the gig economy, and she doesn't communicate well, whether we're on a Samsung Galaxy Note or some other cell plan. She seems to mostly respond to animal noises. What were you saying before we broke?
That somebody has to keep the person company who's living in your house, who isn't a dog but dresses like a dog.
Seriously, why go to the trouble? I mean, I'd be supporting two mentally insane people who dressed like dogs and acted like dogs if I had a fake dog living in my house.
Then pretend you have a dog.
If you'd like.
Well, do you think your dog would rather be around some house sitter or another dog?
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Don't a lot of dogs fight and get territorial?
Oh, Mr. Gerber, that is so parochial.
I'm not even Catholic.
But we're pretending you have a dog.
Well, Jews have dogs, too. I mean, my parents have a dog. Does Bernie Sanders have a dog?
I don't know. But I do know Elizabeth Warren does.
Well, if Bernie Sanders doesn't have a dog, he isn't gonna win. Hell, 62% of all American homes have a dog, and that's up from 56% last year.
Well, then, Mr. Gerber, this is exactly why you really should consider getting in on the IPO for the company I'm gigging for.
I need to know more before I get involved, but I'm not so sure about gig employers. I'm not interested in furthering poverty and employee exploitation one Uber ride at a time.
Well, here's how it works. Hear me out. Most people think they need a dog sitter or a cat sitter or even a gerbil sitter. What they really need is something their pet will relate to. Will a gerbil relate to some Amazon woman like me, 5'2" and 91 pounds, sitting on the couch, talking all sweet and nice to the gerbil? No. The gerbil wants to see another gerbil.
How big are most gerbils?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe Richard Gere knows the answer.
Come on, that's so old. I can't even believe somebody your age heard it.
Listen, do you have a gerbil or gerbils?
Well, we do have a hamster.
Then you need AI services.
Doesn't AI stand for artificial intelligence?
Animal impersonators.
Oh, I'm not sure I need animal impersonator services. I've got enough of an ant problem at home.
Ants, nobody has asked me to keep an ant company, but that day will come.
Well, I'm confused. Are you a pet sitter or something else?
Something else.
Do you work like little kids' birthday parties?
No. I could.
Well, you work for animal impersonators, right?
I don't work there per se. I'm just a contracted animal impersonator, but I do not cheat around with other companies.
Well, this isn't like a contracted serial killer, is it?
No. Putting on whiskers and cuddling up to a cute feline with a black and white face is not serial killing with almond milk.
Oh, right. I do see your point.
I knew you'd come around. Does your hamster need company?
My son's hamster is nocturnal. That's one of the problems. My son doesn't want to wake him up during the day and play with him.
Well, hopefully somebody is around in the middle of the night when the hamster's up.
Not so much. Sometimes I hear weird noises in the room in front of my bedroom, and not the part with the law books. You know, the hamster he's on his wheel, or he's drinking Kool-Aid, or doing those hamster things.
No, I can do hamster things.
Which ones?
I've got a pretty good bite. You want to hear it?
I just don't know if our non-directional microphones in here would do justice to the clickety-clang of your hamster bite.
Oh, no, Mr. Gerber. A hamster's bite is not like an old engine rattling way.
Well, this whole conversation about hamster bites, bug bites, and just plain biting is, in general, it's very interesting. Not on a periodontal sense, but this is a show about employment law. One of the issues with the gig economy is the workers may be earning less than minimum wage, so I'd like to know how much you're paid.
Well, I get the standard $1 unlocking fee, and then I get 25 cents every minute before AI takes 70% of that.
Well, us wage and hour lawyers are pretty fast with multiplication. 25 cents times 60 minutes in an hour. It's $15 an hour, which is more than minimum wage, but if you only get 30%, that's $4.50 an hour.
Yeah, but I get the whole unlocking fee.
That's $1.
I know, but I could go to one home in, say, Venice and be a dog, and then, say, 10 minutes later, go to another home in Mar Vista and keep a chick company. But, I mean, I'd have to change and do my makeup, but...
You know, miss, even if you got, like, the $1 unlocking fee in an hour, you'd still only make $10.50, but, isn't there travel time between gigs?
Well, sometimes I start out in El Segundo and I end up in Palm Springs. But if I'm a horse, I am pretty fast. I mean, if I'm a mouse, I scurry.
So in other words, you travel the animal impersonating circuit.
Yeah, they're all over. I mean, even if I don't go.
Are there expenses involved in these gigs? You mentioned costumes and makeup.
Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes a costume doesn't last very long because I do not shy away from rough play. I work with a lot of puppies.
Yeah, this is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show. I'm talking to some woman in the gig economy who, I think she impersonates animals, and she's got to slow down because this is so weird. I don't think anyone has heard anything like this, but from what I'm hearing, you're being exploited. You aren't even earning minimum wage, and you're doing some very hard work. The rough play, maybe a hostile dog, a biting parakeet.
Mr. Gerber, listen. I would happily dress up like a Cocker Spaniel and cozy up to another Cocker Spaniel all day, even if I wasn't being paid. I mean, do you think I'm impersonating animals for the money?
Well, I didn't think you were doing it for the fame.
Look, sir, not everybody can do what I do.
Oh, I'd have to agree.
Yeah, a lot of turtles. I mean, people try to be turtles. They just don't cut it.
Well, that raises an interesting question. What type of not cats and not birds, etc., get into this whole animal impersonating racket?
It's not a racket, sir. It's perfectly good gig for a lot of people who don't have a regular place to crash.
Well, is this like house sitting?
I hardly think animal impersonators would keep on animal impersonator who was being neglectful of the pet they were supposed to keep company. I'm just incensed.
Well, I'm not trying to incense you. Then I suppose you're in favor of being an independent contractor.
Well, what is that?
Well, the whole point of the show, well, at least putting you on, was you're supposed to be a fine example. Well, maybe a fine specimen in your case, as somebody in the gig economy who is misclassified as an independent contractor.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of the impersonators are pretty independent, and they don't want to put down any roots. I wouldn't say they're homeless. I mean, more like couch surfers. I mean, they're just happy to have a place where they can use a clean bathroom, and frankly, I don't blame them.
This is, I don't think I'd want these animal impersonators in my house. Now, why would they want to use a clean bathroom? I mean, this, raises a question. Why would they want to use a clean bathroom if they're impersonating a dog? Isn't that creating a slightly unfair bar for the real dog? Very few dogs, I know some are, but very few dogs are capable of flushing a toilet, let alone using one.
Yeah, you're right. I never thought about that.
But I gotta ask this: you're not doing that business like a dog does? Does it while you're impersonating Fido's BFF?
We can't talk about that.
Oh, that's so disappointing.
I said no, sir.
Just when we get to the part where I think the listeners would like to know the answer, we got these guests that just won't tell us. She's an animal impersonator. She dresses up like an animal. She gets these assignments. In this gig job of hers, she can make a whole $4.50. She doesn't, I don't know. She might take those ride-sharing services. It wasn't clear, but she can't ride a scooter because of the costume, and if there's a tail, you can't be on a scooter. So I don't even know how this woman gets to her gig jobs. This is strange, but I got to tell you something. Most employment cases are strange. If they weren't strange, they wouldn't be a good story. I only take cases if they're a good story because that's what they're about. You got to have a reason for people believing in the case. So if you have a real employment case, I'm a real workplace lawyer. I can be reached at 877-525-0700. I've got offices all over Southern California. We closed escrow a couple weeks ago on an office condo in Bakersfield. Got one office in downtown LA and ever in Sherman Oaks, some in the South Bay, Tustin, Riverside, you name it, wherever there are workers in California. We have an office. Give us a call at 877-525-0700 for the original labor lawyers. 877-525-0700, representing employees for a long time. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, Talk Radio 790 KABC.
Nothing better than holding them close and having them whole. We all know it's good for the soul.
Since 1993, the Employment Lawyers Group has been a consistent force in fighting for the rights of California employees. They've represented thousands of employees in cases in which they've lost their jobs, been sexually harassed, discriminated against at work, or owed wages individually or as a group, such as a class action. The Employment Lawyers Group has maintained a high win rate and a serious record before the California courts. Please call 877-525-0700 for an experienced work lawyer. That's 877-525-0700. They have call takers standing by. Online, research the firm at worklawyerca.com. They have offices throughout Southern California. If you hire the Employment Lawyers Group, your legal problem becomes theirs to solve.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, not for sale to minors. Website restricted to adults 21 and over.
Let's be real. Most smokers aren't looking for some overcomplicated vaping machine. That's why we created My Blue. My Blue is simple. Our pre-filled liquid pods mean there's no mess. One charge and My Blue lasts all day. And with our range of flavors and nicotine options, you have a choice. My Blue answers on what matters for smokers. Real nicotine satisfaction. And right now, try My Blue for $1 at select retailers or myblue.com.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. We'll also have a dolphin chatter excitedly in front of the perfect candidate. Okay, there's no dolphin. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Clear thinking. Free discussion. AM790 KABC.
I fired back, but by and large, you bought yourself a lawsuit for
Talk Radio 790 KBC. This is the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show, and I have a feeling that our guest tonight has impersonated a dolphin because she's an animal impersonator in the gig economy. At least those gig economy jobs can be kind of weird. So, Miss Xenophilist, I just am not sure a parrot would really relate to you as a parrot. Even if you're all dressed up like a parrot. I mean, you're so much bigger. You must look like a larger predator.
Well, I am not in the predatory loan business.
Well, if you're lucky to make $4.50 an hour and you're incurring all these Uber and Lyft rides because you don't have a car and you can't use a rented scooter because you're in a costume and your tail might get caught in the back wheel and you've got makeup and costume fees, how are you supporting yourself if you aren't one of those, well, animal impersonators who doesn't want to put down roots?
My mother?
It's hard to tell, and I'm so old, I think a woman who's 50 is useful, but I am sort of thinking you're old enough where your mother probably wants you off the household expenses.
Oh, do you want to know how old I am?
Yes.
Okay, dog years or cat years?
Let's keep it a mystery and do it in rabbit years, because I'm not really sure how long a rabbit lives.
Have you ever worn a zebra suit?
Nope, not even a zoot suit.
Listen, this has been a great conversation, but I really have to go to keep a peacock company right now.
Oh, I'd love to see the getup you use when you're hanging out, chilling out with the peacocks.
Well, it's different if there's more than one.
Oh, I'd be willing to see your outfit for blending in with the cocks if there's one or two at once.
Oh, well, actually, I'm pretty sure I've got a picture on my phone. Hold on. Ooh, see?
What's this? What are you supposed to be?
It's not what I am supposed to be. It is what I am.
Well, it's pretty clear you're dressed up like a sunflower in this picture.
Oh, I made a mistake. I'm showing you how I look when I'm with a German Shepherd. Hold on.
What? Are you supposed to be something the German Shepherd would like to see in nature, or are you supposed to be a dog in this picture?
It's not what I am supposed to be in the picture. It's what I am.
Right. You're a sunflower in the picture you're showing me.
No, I am not.
Oh, look. There are a bunch of sunflower leaf things around your face. I love the orangish yellow color, very seasonal. And then, oh, well, there's sunflower seeds in the middle. It's a happy costume you're wearing.
No, I am not a sunflower. I am in my German Shepherd outfit.
Miss, there's no way you look like a German Shepherd in that picture.
Do you want to bet?
No.
I've got more pictures. They're all on my profile page if you want to see.
Well, what kind of a profile page do you have?
Match.com.
Oh, I hate to think about the kind of dates you get with those profile pictures.
Oh, no, I've got more pictures.
I'd like to see more. Do you have one where you look more like a dog?
Here's a very dog-like picture of me.
I've never seen a green dog. This picture, even if some idiot dyes a dog for St. Patrick's Day, and I hope they don't do that, the dog isn't a dark green color. I'm going to come out and say it. You're dressed up like a pickle.
Let me see that.
Well, here's your phone back. You really don't look a thing like a dog in that picture. I think it's a good pickle costume, though. Pretty funny. It makes me want to laugh.
I don't know. I swore I looked like a French poodle. Strawberry-dyed fell, about 2 foot tall, on a 40-foot leash. Quiche Lorraine.
Quiche Lorraine? I guess that explains the pink bonnet and sunglasses on what otherwise looks like a pickle.
Mr. Gerber, may I ask you a personal question?
No.
Do you ever wear designer jeans with appliques?
Simplest. I know you think you're a sweet, sweet puppy, but to me, you're a pickle in that picture.
Huh?
Well, here's the fundamental issue. Did you get that little reference? That was a B-52 song. Here's the fundamental issue. You might not be an employee if you go around providing the same kind of services you provide to animal impersonators, to other... Well, why, that's the problem. I don't think there's a competitor to animal impersonators.
See, now that's weird. Because I never got why there isn't. Especially when AI's valuation is at $5.14 billion.
Odd. I've heard that funding level before somewhere. Wait! I have to do a sponsorship plug. This program is made possible by a generous grant from the Helms Foundation's $5.14 billion in funding and 14 inches of endowmenting, people. He's who refers me my guests.
Well, there is one reason why I sort of, well, maybe, quite possibly, no, just sort of wish I were an employee at AI.
Well, what? Maybe they'd have a wardrobe department and you wouldn't be sent onto jobs dressed like a pickle?
No, that's not it.
Then what could the reason possibly be?
Well, there was this one time where I was on a play date with a Great Dane. Oh, Great doesn't even begin to do him any justice. Standing up, he went up to about my neck, and his name was Horsey. Oh, he was so cute. We had been running around on all fours in the backyard for hours. It was one of the best times of my life.
Can I stop you and ask what the best time of your life was?
No, 'cause I'm telling a story right now. So we went back to Horsey's bed, and it was just, a twin mattress on the floor, and Horsey laid down. He fell asleep. And when I woke up, he rolled on over onto my tummy. And, well, he crushed a rib in the process. I can hardly blame him, poor little Horsey. He was the sweetest, most loving 4-foot-tall Great Dane I had ever had a play date with.
And thus, who paid these medical bills being that you weren't an employee?
Yeah, I know. Well, my mom said workers' compensation and disability benefits through the unemployment board if I were an employee.
AI's valuation is going to have some problems because their entire business model is based upon paying employees less than minimum wage. And, this new AB5 thing isn't going to be allowing that.
But I am a fine artist.
Well, there's an exception in the new law for fine artists, but they're visual artists, but we're hit with the fact that you don't have a separate business location where you do this stuff. The employer sets the rates, and you're the one providing the general services to the employer who charges customers. I'm also assuming AI tells you when you have to show up for a play date.
Yes, and thank you for using the right terminology. Appreciate that. Yes, I get a text if I am within range. And that's a 200-mile range if I accept. I'm going to have a lot of fun.
Do you eat dog food?
Sometimes.
I suspected I wasn't the only one dying to know.
Well, if I could set my own hours, maybe I'd have time to eat dried rice and vegetables on my own. But listen, being a dog burns a lot of calories.
And thus, a can of dog food looks and even smells appetizing.
Mr. Gerber, it isn't like that at all. They've got fat-free organic steak on the bone at a lot of my play dates.
To be honest, how did you hear about this show?
Remus Holmes?
My God, I thought now that this show was on a different time, I'd have a different type of guest. Not millennials who have play dates with 4-foot-tall dogs while they're wearing pickle costumes.
Well, Remus Holmes said all guests on the show are furnished courtesy of the Helms Foundation, and that isn't changing.
I'm cursed. The listeners are cursed. If you think Cinephilist is strange, I can't say she's as strange as one I've had on this show. There's a regularly appearing imposter, a phone sex operator, a mother who stayed underneath her son's bed for safety reasons when the son had his first time. We've even had the Easter Bunny and a human sandwich.
I'd imagine those kind of guests have very unique employment problems.
To say the least. All right, listeners, we may be on next week at 7 o'clock on Sunday if we're not here at this time. Also, go to the Karl Gerber with the K channel on YouTube or the KBC website. We teach about employment law while keeping it fun and really weird because you're not going to forget the example you heard tonight on the Karl Gerber Workplace Lawyer Show on Talk Radio 790 KBC. Have a wonderful week of workplace abuse.
This show furnished by Karl Gerber and Employment Lawyers Group.